This gun lights your fireman, the pilot lights out.
This football team is coming into our place. We're standing in our way.
This is a game of the heart. Focus and finish.
Did anyone else have a hard time sleeping after watching that game last night? What a nightmare. That game set the game of football back 75 years. It looked like it was a Week 4 preseason game. And why on earth would the Vikings hang Josh Freeman out there to dry like that? He didn't have a chance. Christian Ponder had to be thinking, oh my God, did they think I sucked that bad? Freeman had no idea what he was doing. That wasn't fair to him or his teammates. He's lucky he didn't get hurt or get somebody else hurt. Josh Freeman came into the game with the lowest completion percentage in the game. What did they think would happen when they threw him in there with a bunch of strangers and an entire new offensive scheme? Crazy. All right, let's take a look at how to replace some of the big names that were injured this past week, causing holes in your fantasy lineups. First, the quarterbacks. What do you do if you had Jay Cutler or Sam Bradford? Well, not Josh Freeman. Right, the Bears have a bye this week, so hopefully you're already prepared to substitute somebody for Cutler. But going forward, I don't think it's the craziest thing in the world if you want to try Josh McCown. He actually didn't play that badly in relief last week, and he certainly has the receivers to work with in Chicago. As for Bradford, I can't really see going with Kellen Clements. The two guys I would probably target for replacements at the time is Geno Smith and Mike Glennon. You're gambling a bit with Smith in terms of him taking care of the ball, but he's actually shown the ability to spread the ball around to a group of less than stellar receivers, and last week, he showed the ability to do some damage with his legs, running 6 times and scoring once. As for Glennon, like Smith, he's still getting his feet wet as a rookie, but he does have some weapons to work with in Tampa, and with Doug Martin done for the season, the Bucs are going to have to rely more heavily on their passing game. Last week, Glennon completed 26 of 44 passes for 256 yards and 2 touchdowns. You can do a lot worse than that. So how do you replace Reggie Wayne? Well, you don't really, at least not at this time of year, unless you're going to make a trade. But he did have a bye week this week, so hopefully you were thinking in advance. Now, long term, I'd go with his teammate, Darius Haywood-Bay, or Jacoby Jones. He's also on a bye. My other 2 choices would be Ruben Randall and Harry Douglas, if they're still available in your leagues. Those looking to replace Doug Martin don't have that many valid choices, but the top 2 I can see are Zach Stacy and Jacquizz Rodgers. Stacy will be relied heavily upon in St. Louis with Sam Bradford out as they try to take the air out of the ball and shorten the game. And Rodgers has become a prime receiving target out of the backfield in Atlanta with their other 2 big receivers down. I'd expect Rodgers to be valuable in PPR leagues even after Steven Jackson returns. Today's Twitter question comes from @FootballFrenzy, who wants to know what I think of Denarius Moore. You know, it's actually a great question. Moore is more overlooked than I thought he was, no pun intended. He's only owned in 70% of leagues on NFL.com, and he should probably be added to that list of possible replacements for Reggie Wayne that I gave earlier. He's scored in 4 of the 6 weeks the Raiders have played, and Pryor clearly looks for him. At this time of the year with so many players injured, I like him. Now, if you have a question you want answered, hit me up with a tweet, and if I don't use your question on the program, I'll tweet you back with my best advice. And remember the rule, no more questions on this guy. Nothing. His name should not be mentioned again, ever again, on this show. And be sure to tune in to the Roto Experts Fantasy Football News Notes and Analysis segment every weekday. I'll be here to keep you current and ahead of the competition, and on weekends, come back for This Week in Fantasy Football, as I team up with the King, Scott Engel, covering the week that was, the week that will be, and answering your viewer questions. For Roto Experts, I'm Mike Cardano. See you tomorrow, everyone.